Yo, what's Gucci, my gangsters? I'm hoping this setup doesn't fall because it's on a trampoline right now. But I wanted to do another video, but this time, oh, it's kind of out of focus. Oh, just like I said, it fell. Just like I said, but I'm gonna start a little bit further away. Hopefully, this is a little bit better. I gotta bend down and stuff like that. But I wanted to do another video because I mean it's nice out right now too. It's 5 o'clock, about to be 6 on autumn. So I wanted to do another video because about a week ago I finished this book, which I teased in the book review that I did for Stoicism for Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Because bro, I'm like out in public, I'm like talking to the camera as well. But anyways, this book has been very like crazy for me. I mean, it was a very easy read for me to read it. If you don't know who David Goggins is, I can do a little rundown. Again, I'm kind of doing this off of my head as well of what I remember from the book. This book has been a very good like read for myself. It's been an easy read for me because it's just such a motivating like book to read, especially with knowing like what type of guy that David Goggins is. If you don't know who he is, I'll give a little rundown. He was basically starting with his childhood. Actually, I want to start from the beginning. He was when he was a kid, his father was he was the manager of a rollerblading rink, and he was the type of guy that was very easygoing, very cool, very like, oh, how are y'all doing, blah blah blah, like very appeared on the on the outside that he was just a guy that was just like cool with everybody and stuff like that. And he would go ahead to like different groups of people, get them drinks and stuff like that, say that's on the house and all that, and then he would basically like gather everybody else. But he was the type of guy that knew that like if he did that, it wasn't out of like the good of his heart that he would give them drinks and stuff like that to have more of an easy time. He knew that he would get them drunk, and then the more drunk that they get, the more that they're gonna invest money into the drinks and stuff like that within the party. So the free drinks were just it's like a foot in the door sort of policy where, you know, he introduces it and then he knows that they're gonna sink money back into his revenue, and then it's just gonna keep, you know, going and going and going and going. So the reason why I'm saying that is because the public, they thought of David Goggins' father as like a super cool guy, like a very good guy on the outside, like doing well for his family and stuff like that. But on the inside, what David Goggins know of his father is that he was an abusive piece of shit. He was the type of guy that would overwork the family, including David, his brother, his mom, on nights when it would be a school night. They would be overworking till 12 o'clock p.m., 1 o'clock p.m. It would go on till nighttime, and his mom would basically tuck him in on the couch that they have in the I can't say it, in the rink basically. And the next day, David would go to school and stuff like that, and he would just be struggling to stay awake because he was out last night just basically working, and he wasn't, since he was a kid, obviously he wasn't getting paid, so it was like this was his work basically, and he wasn't even able to focus on school. And he's the type of person as well that it seems like from reading his book, he seems like he has ADHD, but I can't say for sure because I don't think he even says it either. I mean, it was back in the 80s, so there wasn't really like assisted training when it comes to kids with those sort of needs and stuff like that. So, but that's what it seems like. So he didn't do too good in school. His father was a piece of shit. Even more so, he would beat him up. He would beat up him and his brother if they were acting out at home and stuff like that. There would be lashes where David's dad would beat the wife if she basically wasn't like behaving correctly and stuff like that. And that, you know, that's like one of the causes that, you know, obviously that's a lot of trauma for David and stuff like that. That's later on in the novel that he kind of addresses that. But growing up, that was his life. That was his life from when he was young up until he got to high school, and then in high school he basically cheated. He copied off of other kids and stuff like that, the smart kids, so he was able to create an image that he was like this top guy. But he knew in his mind that he wasn't. He just presented himself that way to the others so that he could, earn like acclaim and stuff like that throughout his social years at school. And after a while, I think it was towards his senior year, that was when his life was at a he was just not taking school seriously. He was not doing very good when it came to grades by this time, because copying off of other kids just wasn't enough and stuff like that. He had to actually have some merit to him and some work ethic and stuff like that, and he didn't really develop that at that time. So he struggled very, very hard to keep up and do like what he had to. And I remember that he graduated high school, and I don't know if I'm confusing it, if it was around high school. It was in his in his early 20s. In his early 20s, I think he broke out, and he was like a exterminator or some shit. And he was basically doing like stupid ass jobs. It was a job that really meant nothing and stuff like that. So he was just basically like grinding, but just grinding to pay the bills and stuff like that. Nothing really like getting him out of poverty or anything like that. I also forgot to say, this was like after he left his father. Basically, his mom abandoned his father. She had enough with his shit, and she went and she left. And they went from, I think it was Gary, Indiana, or Brazil, Indiana, or something like that, to another place I forget. Basically, where his grandfather like lived at and lived with his family and stuff like that. Besides the point, so he's in his early 20s, working exterminator jobs, just fucking bullshit basically. He was pretty heavy as well. He was at 300 pounds, he says in the book. And he basically, one night when he's doing one of his exterminating like retreats out, he sees the TV and he sees this advertisement for the Navy SEALs and stuff like that. He becomes enamored with it. He's just like, damn, bro, I want to do that. That's the first time in my life that I want to do that. School didn't work out, basketball didn't work out. What else? Yeah, no, at that point he felt like a failure, and he's like, I gotta do something, bro. So what he does is he goes back home, he looks at himself in the mirror, he sees the shape that he's in, and he's just like, I'm gonna fucking beat the shit out of you. Like,
there is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
that's the same sort of sentiment that he has towards himself. And he's just like, I'm just gonna go and work and work and work and work and work. And he met with recruiters and stuff like that for the Navy, and he tells them, I want to be in the Navy SEALs. And then they basically laugh him off because he's a 300-pound guy and he doesn't even have the necessary requirements on the ASVAB, which is basically SATs but for the military, to even be qualified for the Navy SEALs and stuff like that. So he has a 10-month time span to lose all that weight, study for the ASVAB, I think it's called, and he just 10 months basically. For 10 months he studied like it was the SATs for the ASVAB. He ran every day. It started out a little bit small, maybe like, I don't know, 10 miles, 15 miles, something like that, which for me personally is like a lot because my stamina is garbage, bro. So that's like one thing I gotta improve. But that's beside this point. So he starts from there and he will run in the morning, early mornings, maybe like 4 or 5, 6 a.m. and then just go for every time that he would have to do, and every day there wasn't a single day that he missed when he did that, and he did that for the duration of all 10 months while also working the bullshit exterminator job. And he did that for 10 months, and by the time he got to the 10th month and he was about to, it was like the date for being shipped out for the BUDS training in Navy SEALs, he met the requirements. He met the bare requirements when it came to the ASVAB. He met the bare requirements when it came to the weight. He went from 300 pounds to I think it was 190 pounds. So he made a lot of progress in such a short amount of time, and that like whole process has stuck with him throughout his whole career. So it doesn't even just stop there. After that, he gets into Navy SEALs, which was also another like if you've ever looked at the BUDS training, it's crazy. I mean, these guys, they go for like the highest, like the highest training out of like all of the military, next to maybe Army Rangers as well and Green Berets. But one of the highest trainings, you basically have to go through a week where you're in, let's see if I remember correctly. First week is in the water. You have to trudge through water and stuff like that, and they test you on your diving as well as like, are you able to trudge through water and swim and stuff like that. Second week is, I think it's aerial stuff. I kind of forget that one as much. And then the third week is on land. So you got to go through miles and miles and miles of just forestry and just like, yeah, like I said, I'm going off of my thing. I'll probably show like a clip of like how BUDS training is, but it's crazy though. I mean, he had to go through everything, and he was one of the main guys throughout BUDS training that like didn't give up, and everybody was on the verge of giving up. Everybody on his team were just on the verge of giving up, and he even had moments too where doubt would catch up to him and just like beat him down. But the logic that he had in his mind is that he would use the pain and the misery that he felt when he was growing up, all the racism and stuff like that he had to endure, all the abuse from his father and stuff like that, as well as even just like contemporary stuff that was going on at the time, like one of the instructors, I think he called them RBG or something like that, SBG, I forget, but one of the instructors was being a real fucking piece of shit to him throughout the whole training, and he would just like get him to do like push-ups until failure, and even then just keep going until after failure, to just the brink. And every time David just thought like, bro, honestly, fuck this guy, I'm gonna prove him wrong, I'm gonna go for the maximum, and I'm just gonna keep doing that for everything that I do throughout this training. So he did that throughout all the training, and he got to the point where I think he had some injuries throughout his training in the BUDS training. And even then, he just kept going no matter what. And by the end of it, he had like something in his knee, something in his legs while he was running as well. He did everything. I mean, there was one point where he was running and he broke his leg at some point. No, actually, that might be for another thing. Anyways, he broke his leg. I'm gonna keep going with it. He broke his leg, and what he did was he took like duct tape or something like that, wrapped it around his legs, and then he just kept going. And then he just ran for like 10 miles at least, probably more than that, on broken legs. And he just didn't give a fuck at all. And this is just with BUDS. Then after BUDS, he loves that feeling of being pushed to the edge and just like seeing where his mental can go. So what does he do? Does he stop there? No, he just keeps going. He goes from that to Badwater, which is a marathon that you can do. And I think it's 100, it's not 1,000, 100-mile run, if I'm not correct. I'll show on screen what like the corrections throughout the video. He went for Badwater, he went for the Ironman run. Let me see, hold on. Oh, I have it. Do I have it over here? Honestly, he had other things as well. I kind of forget. Like I said, it's been like a week and a half since I read this book. I wanted to get this out because like this is all fresh in my mind. But he did that. He did Bad Run. He did one a marathon out in Hawaii. I think that was even farther, like 200 miles. And then he did one in San Diego throughout. Not San Diego. Throughout Death Valley was one of them. I think that might have been Bad Run, but I'm not too sure. He was pushed to the brink basically, and he was just done by the end of all of that. I mean, there was one point where he was done with, I think, the Death Valley one, where by the time he got home, his wife, he wasn't even able to like move like that. Like his wife had to put him in the shower, and he was just in a fetal position the whole time, and he was just fucking done. He was just done. And you would think that something like that would just like push someone to be like, all right, you know, like, I think this is it. This is good for me. This is good. But he loves that feeling. He's like a psycho, like, he's like a sadist for pain for himself, because like the pain that he feels throughout exercise and stuff like that, pushing himself to the limits, inspires him even more to just like, where's my ceiling? Like, I want to bust through that ceiling. Like in the interview when James Franco is with Seth Rogen, like, you just gotta bust through that ceiling, bro. And that's what David Goggins does every time. And he's just a crazy guy. I mean, like, you can search it up. You can search up his Wikipedia and everything. He's a guy that actually like commits to everything that he does. Everything that he's done throughout his life has just been a testament to like what type of mentality that he's had throughout his life and the work ethic that he's developed for himself. I mean, he went from a guy who didn't succeed very well in school and was kind of a poser as well. I mean, copying off of other people and all that. The way that he presented himself to others as a teenager, he was like a super cool guy, hip and very, very cool. But he deep down, he was very insecure with himself. And he developed that after just seeing like the life that he was kind of living at 20 years old. And he just thought like, dog, I can do way better than this. I can do way, way, way better than this. And like, you know the memes online, bro. You don't know me, son. You don't know me, son. Like, bro, he's just like, here's a bit.
13, come on. 14, come on. 15, shut that muscle down. 16, come on. Get it. 17. You don't know me, son. Get it. 18. You don't know me, son. Get it. 19. You don't know me, son. Yeah. 20, you got some more in you. 21, yeah, get it again.
Bit of a meme, but like, he is like, he's a crazy dude, and he actually has credentials to be as crazy as he is, and as revered as he is as well. Because he's the type of guy where if, like, you have two athletes, and the second athlete has a limit and he stops, the first athlete, which is Goggins, he just keeps going, no matter what it is. And it even comes to a point where he had, this was a little bit more recent in the book, where he did a pull-up record actually. A pull-up record where the highest was 4,000 and something, 4,020 I think. And then he basically commits to that. And he had 3 attempts that he did for the pull-up. The first time that he did it, he failed because that one was a little bit more publicized and stuff like that. He went in with the wrong mentality as well. Like, I'm doing it for the money, I'm doing it to raise money for the charity that I'm sponsoring, rather than like, I'm gonna push myself throughout this like record. And he failed. He got up to 2,000 and something, close to 3,000. Then, second time, he went to a local gym that was a little bit more like, not as what's it called? Not as pretty as the first time, because the first time was sponsored by like NBC and ABC and blah blah blah, CNN and Fox, and you know, like the news outlets basically. And this time around, he was in a really shoddy gym. But shoddy in the sense that like it's a man's gym, so it's like you just got the necessary equipment, and then you just go, and then just dudes like pumping iron the whole day, like my boy Arnold Schwarzenegger and all that. But that's what he needed. And the pull-up bar as well that he was on, the first time it was a little bit loose, so it wasn't as stable as the first time. So every time that he had to go up, he had to adjust his grip every time. The second time, the second gym, it was stable to the floor. It was bolted in and everything. So whenever he would have to go up, he felt like it was a lot better when it came to he didn't have to adjust his grip. And if you've ever done like pull-ups or anything like that, if you've ever gone to the maximum for yourself, you would know that like pull-ups at some point, like if you keep adjusting your grip to try to get a good grip, it's gonna affect your performance during the pull-ups, because every movement matters. Every movement matters because you're wasting stamina at that point, always changing your grips and stuff like that, and trying to hold on to it. So he did that, and even then he still got up to like 3,000, and then he just failed because his body just couldn't take it. And then third time, he did it again in the same gym and everything, but with a smaller crowd of people, and gloves this time around to help him out with that. And even then, he got like 3,800, I think it was. And yeah, I mean, bro, it's just crazy. Like, the dude just pushes himself every time. And he was doing all of this, the marathons, the records, everything alongside his career in the Navy SEALs, which he was a part of like many missions when it came to, you know, he was out in combat and stuff like that. And he had a lot of people that depended on him as well. But he differed from the rest of the Navy SEALs in that during BUD/S, the Navy SEALs trainees that he was with, they obviously, that's an environment where you gotta push yourself and prove yourself and be like one of the top dogs. But then after BUD/S training, and then you're out in like normal life, you kind of go back to mediocrity. And he saw that with most of the SEALs that he was with during his missions, at least. And missions, they're crazy, but then outside of work, they don't push themselves when it came to like exercise and stuff like that, and training regiments and stuff like that. There was a time when he was one of the sergeants, or not drill sergeants, but like one of the trainers for the guys, and he would try to push themselves to the max, and then they would be like, bro, this is not stupid, bro, like how are we ever gonna use this in the field? Like, this is just like stupid, like it's not gonna be useful for us. And then the way that he was just kind of like, bro, you guys are pussies, like basically, like you guys aren't even training yourselves to the maximum, so you're not even able to keep up with me and how I was. And that kind of pushed away the rest of the trainees. So like, he was a part of the SEALs. He even says in the book he was part of the SEALs, but he wasn't part of the brotherhood that was of the SEALs. So then he recognizes that not everybody is like the way that he is and stuff like that. And even he notes it in the book with the little challenges that he has at the end of each chapter, where he's like, honestly, the goal isn't to be like, the goal isn't, how do I say this? The goal isn't to be as crazy as me and my dedication, but the goal for yourself is to be improving yourself every day and pushing it to the max, pushing it to the 100% that you have for yourself. And even when you're at your 100%, and when you're at that threshold, keep pushing even further, because you're going to increase that threshold for yourself throughout time. And that goes back to one of the philosophies that he developed from this book, which is called the 40% rule. So basically, this rule means that for the max that you push yourself to, that is just the 40% of what you have in yourself. There's another 60% that you haven't even accessed yet. And to access that, you're gonna have to basically push yourself when you're at 40%. So if 40% is your limit, you're gonna have to keep pushing and pushing. Each time you might falter, and you might get maybe, I don't know, next time maybe 50%, right? But that 50%, if you just keep consistent with it, that 50% becomes your 40%. And then each time you're gonna increase until you get to your 100. And obviously he equates this mostly to physical like feats, because that's what he has like experience with, but it could be applied to anything. It could be applied to intellectually, academically, career-wise, just life in general, like how you live your life each day. Are you doing 100% of what you can for yourself each day? And what you're doing for yourself, I mean, I don't know. I felt like that rule really resonated with me, and I think it can for a lot of people too. Because like we're all caught up in a world of like excuses and inconveniences and stuff like that. And there's a lot that you can be doing for yourself that you know for yourself you can improve on each time for every day that you have living on this earth and living in a life that you have. Now, obviously, everybody got different privileges, different disadvantages and stuff like that. Like, he definitely notes it down in the book. Like, obviously, everyone's gone through shit. I've gone through racism. I've gone through abuse. I've gone through like myself against myself. And he for a long time actually, he used that hate and that misery that he felt to push himself each time. And that's what kept him in that psychopathic kind of like mentality of discipline, basically. Is that like, honestly, these people are fucking bitches. I'm gonna keep pushing myself so that I'm not the bitch that they think I am, and I'm gonna become the guy that's like makes them my bitch, basically. It's like the mentality that he has. But then after a while, he never addressed all this stuff that he had gone through in his life when it came to abuse, when it came to, you know, all the hatred that he felt for himself, all the hatred that others have felt for him, and then he kind of like took it in and stuff like that, all the insecurities that he had. And there was one time when he suffered he has a condition with his heart where basically it's like atrial septal like defect or something like that. But basically what it means is inside the heart there's a hole in the heart, and the way that the airways kind of flow within the heart, it gets mixed in with the bloodstream, and then with the bloodstream the oxygen and the blood kind of become like one, and it can cause a lot of difficulties and stuff like that. And he literally lived like 30 years of his life without knowing about this thing within himself. And even then the doctor says like, bro, you gotta relax because you can die, like deadass. And he says like, you know what, fuck that, because like I've been living all these years with this condition and pushing myself to the limit. Like, bro, I'm just gonna keep pushing it until like, I don't know, maybe like God claims me or whatever. And he just kept pushing it until he got to a point where it did affect him. But it didn't affect him when he was doing what's it called, when he was doing what am I trying to say, when he was doing athletic like feats. It just affected him out of nowhere when he was 38, 39, I think, back in 2014 or 13 or something like that. And then he went to, basically he had to lie down for a little bit. And when he was lying down, that was one of the first times in his life when he had nothing in front of him to really do. So he was just left to his own devices and to his own mind. And I feel like that was when he made the epiphany within his life, like, damn, like, I have these bumps within the back of my skull, and they keep growing and growing and growing throughout the years. And even when I go to the doctors, they say like, oh yeah, you're perfectly healthy and stuff like that, blah blah blah. They can't really explain these bumps, right? All my life I've been holding on to all this misery and all this pain within myself, and in some ways it's been good and like to push myself to the limit and stuff like that. But in other ways it's made me like bad. Like when it comes to my brothers in the Navy SEALs, like I would push them away because I wouldn't be able to connect with them in some ways and stuff like that. And holding on to all this misery and pain, like I gotta let go of it to become the person that I am now. Whereas the person that I was 10 years ago would have hated myself how I was. But the person today accepts myself for who I am and all the pain that I've had to carry throughout my life and all that. As soon as he kind of stopped resting and he went back to normal life, those bumps in his head, they went away. So yeah, bro, I mean, this book has been like very, very good. I mean, I highly recommend it. If y'all don't know, it's Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. I usually, whenever I make these videos, it's not so much a review as it is just me like talking about the book. Okay, I was about to do this, like, the rest of it inside my house, but, like, I said, like, fuck that. Just like David Goggins said, fuck that to all those guys that, like, fucking hated him throughout the years. So basically, like, I wanted to talk about this because David Goggins is one of my role models in life, and just like pushing myself each time to just keep going and going and going and going. And like I said last time, when it came to stoicism, when it came to Marcus Aurelius and stuff like that, a lot of this is just like, okay, like I've heard this before, but I feel like the way that David Goggins is the, like the perfect reflection of what the Stoic man is, that Marcus Aurelius kind of like said in his book. And just like pushing yourself, living by virtues, living by yourself, like being the best man that you can be, the best potential that you can reach for yourself. And I mean, even now, like post like this book, basically, he's went on the Goggins has went on to the Joe Rogan podcast, which is like how I was introduced to him, as well as like many other people have as well. And he's just been going at it still. I mean, he retired from the Navy SEALs, so he doesn't really have much. He became a firefighter after this book was kind of made, or during the time that this book was made. And he's still kind of contributing to people. I mean, he's a motivational speaker. He's a guy that's just like goes out there and stuff like that. And I think he's one of the best role models for, especially men, especially, to just like latch onto and see like what type of person that he is. I mean, a lot of it is physical feats. It's very focused on that, but you can really apply the 40% rule and the philosophy that he has for himself throughout all of your life. And there's definitely a difference between discipline as well as motivation. Whereas motivation is what you feel in the moment. You can feel motivated about anything in life, and you can feel motivated like, damn, bro, like, yeah, I'm gonna do that, bro. I'm gonna do podcasts, I'm gonna do YouTube videos, I'm gonna read this book, I'm gonna do my homework, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna freaking fly a plane, bro. I'm gonna fly a plane right now. But discipline is having that mentality, but also applying it to your life, where you use that motivation to get you to do things. Because the difference between motivation and discipline is that discipline, you do the things that you want to do, you know, and you keep focused on that, and you do it every time, and you're consistent with it over and over and over and over and over again. Even when you hit a down, bro, when you hit a failure, bro, failure isn't a failure, bro. Failure is when you give up. Failure is when you hit those down moments, bro. You got to use those down moments to go up, bro. You got to use it as a learning experience each time. So it's just like, that's the way that he took it in his life. All those down moments that he had that accountability mirror, and he posted every goal that he had on a sticky note on top of that mirror, and he said, I'm gonna do that shit. I'm gonna keep consistent with it, and I'm gonna keep going with it. And that's what we all gotta do in our lives, bro. We all gotta do that in our lives in some way. Ain't no way you ain't got no skeletons in your closet, bro. Everybody got skeletons in their closet, bro. Like, you gotta do what you gotta do out here in life, bro. You just gotta keep going, no matter what. You can't stop. You cannot stop. When you stop, that's when you get lethargic, and that's when you just don't even want to do the things that you need to do for right now. And that's I feel that every day, bro. The temptations and everything. I just want to stop. I just want to chill, and I can't do that no more. I gotta keep going, no matter what. And the 40% rule, just keep going rule. I mean, I don't know if it's a rule, but it's a philosophy. Just keep going no matter what. That's what David Goggins teaches, and that's what, like, that's just life, bro. I mean, you just gotta keep going no matter what. You gotta keep going no matter what. Some of this might be a repeat of the last video that I made, but I feel like this is a good extension from the last video that I made when it came to like stoicism and stuff like that. So, you know, beautiful outside. Sometimes you need sunlight too, bro. Like, deadass, if you're inside all day, bro, it's mad boring, bro. It gets mad boring. It gets mad, like, bro, you need to get out here, bro. It's mad beautiful outside too. I mean, the sun is setting, so it's like almost done, but you know. You don't know me, son. You don't know me.
Get it, 17.
You don't know me, son.